Everyone, and welcome back. In this lecture we'll continue on built-in string methods. We'll look at the following methods: starts with, ends with, find, index, isSpace, and isTitle. Let's start with the isTitle method. So this method will return true if our string is title cased. Let's say we have a string and save it in a variable ss. This is title cased. Let's say this is our string, so we can call the isTitle method on it, and it will return true if the string is title cased. So if we run this, we'll get false since it's not title cased. Whereas if we say ss, let's create another string. This is title cased. So this string is title cased since the beginning of each word is uppercase. Now if we call the isTitle method on it, we get true. That's because it's title cased. Let's look at the next method, which is isSpace. So the method isSpace returns true if all the characters in our string is a white space. Otherwise it will return false. For instance, if we call the isSpace method on our string ss, we get false. Whereas if we have another string, let's say our string is white space only, so it's white space. Now if we call the isSpace method, we get true. Great. So let's look at the next method, which is starts with. Let's look at the starts with method. So this method will return true if our string starts with the specified element. For instance, let's say we have another string. This string starts with t. So if we say ss that starts with, and then let's pass t, this will return true since our string starts with the element t. Whereas if we say ss that starts with, let's say, h, that will give us false since our string doesn't start with the element h. We can also use this starts with method to check if a string starts with the specified element at a given index. Let's say we want to check if our string starts with the element s at index, for example, what index is this? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we pass index 5, we get true. That's because our string starts with the letter s at index 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can pass that. Next, let's look at the ends with method. And this method returns true if our string ends with the specified element. So here ss that ends with, and then let's pass t. Our string ss ends with, okay, today is called, let's run our string again. Okay, ss, this string starts with t. Okay, ss that ends with t, this will return true. That's because our string ends with t. Whereas if we pass some other element, let's say s, we get false since our string ss doesn't end with s. We can also check if our string ints with more than one element. For instance, I can check if my string ends with, let's say, str. So this will return false. And I can also pass index values to check. For instance, I can check whether my string ends with str between two index ranges. So here str is at index what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I say between index 5 and 8, this will give me true, since my string ends with str between indexes 5 and 8. So this is index 5, 6, 7. Remember, indexing, so from the beginning of this, so indexes 5 through 8 means take indexes 5, 6, 7, not including 8. So our string ends with str between indexes 5 and 8. However, if I change this to, let's say, 9, I'll get false. That's because now my string ends with not str but with stri. That's why this returns false. Okay, we can also do that. Next, let's look at the method. What do we have? Index, I think. Index and find. Okay, find and index. Let's look at the find method. So this will find an element, and if there is an element, it will tell us the index of that element. And if the element doesn't exist in our string, we get -1. Let's look at an example. So ss.find, let's find the element. So this is our string. So if I pass the element r, so this will give me the index of my element r, which is, let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's run that. We get 7. And if the element doesn't exist in our string, we get -1. So for instance, if we say ss.find, let's say x, we get -1, since the element x doesn't exist in our string ss. We can also pass an index with the find method. So let's see, we have ss, the string starts with t. We can also say ss.find, find the element, let's say r, and start with index, let's say 10. So in this case, it will look for the element r starting with index 10. So here is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it will start from here and check this part of the string. Let's run it. So we got 15, which is this r is at index 15. Good. Next, let's look at the index method. So this index method will give us the index of the element, if there is any. So it's very similar to the find method. However, if the element doesn't exist, we get an error. So if we say ss.index of element, let's say t, we get 0, since t is at the beginning. Say ss.index of, let's say, ring, we get index 7, since ring starts at index 7. Similarly, we can say ss.index of, let's pass an element that doesn't exist. If we say, for instance, x, this will throw an error. It says substring not found. That's how the index method is different from the find method. And similar to the find method, we can also specify where to start in the given string. So let's say ss dot index of the element t and start at index, let's say 14, and run it. So we get 16, which is the last t here, I think. Let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, so it's this t, which is at index 16. Okay, so that's how we can use the index method. Thanks everyone. To recap, we looked at the index method, the find method, the isSpace method, isTitle method, and we looked at starts with and ends with method. These are all built-in Python string methods, and in the next lecture we'll continue with some more of the built-in string methods. Thank you everyone, and see you at the next lecture.